Thank you for joining us here today. I was brought to Nebraska to identify correctional practices in need of reform. I believe having a fresh perspective has allowed me to address and modify issues in innovative ways. Today I'm announcing reforms to the Department's calculation of enhanced good time. These reforms will be reflected in the sentence automation upgrades currently under development and continue to identify issues not properly addressed by past leadership. As the Department commenced its efforts to automate steps in its sentencing calculation processes, questions arose about how enhanced good time credits should be applied to inmates. To resolve these questions, the Department sought counsel from the Attorney General's office to clarify the proper application of enhanced good time, which was created by LB 191. Enhanced good time can be earned by inmates at the rate of 3 days per month if that inmate does not have a Class 1 or Class 2 misconduct report, or more than 3 Class 3 misconduct reports in the previous 12 months. This form of good time is distinct from automatic good time, which inmates can receive routinely and which can be taken away punitively. Based on this counsel, several changes to the calculation of enhanced good time credits authorized under LB 191 will be reflected in the Department's sentencing automation project. Ahead of the sentencing automation upgrades projected for completion later this year, the Department is manually reviewing approximately 2,000 sentences that may be impacted. The maximum adjusted increase that an individual sentence could receive after this review is approximately 4 months. A list of all inmates whose sentences are adjusted as part of this reform will be provided at the conclusion of the review. I expect a full review of these sentences to be completed before the end of July. As I continue to chart a new course for the Department, it's critical that our sentencing practices utilize modern technology, program with guidelines that accurately reflect Nebraska statutes and case law. Changing the culture of the Department is not something that happens overnight, but steps like this one today continue to move our correctional system towards the operational excellence that Nebraskans expect. I'm proud of my staff for challenging the existing practices and for bringing problems forward. Following reforms will be made to the application of enhanced good time credits and will be reflected in the Department's sentencing automation project. 1. Location history verification. Until the present, the sentence calculation system did not look to location history to determine if the entire 12-month period was spent incarcerated as required by the statute. Consequently, some inmates received credits to which they were not entitled. Automation will ensure that inmates are incarcerated for the entire period before receiving the credit. 2. Mandatory minimum verification. The current system does not check to see if the inmate is serving the mandatory minimum portion of their It does not check to see if the inmate is serving the mandatory minimum portion of their sentence when determining if the credit should be awarded. Their current system does verify that the tentative release date did not fall below the mandatory minimum date and that inmates have served their mandatory minimum as required by law. Automation will ensure that inmates are not allowed to receive enhanced good time credits while serving their mandatory minimum sentence. 3. Good behavior verification. In the past, inmates who were found guilty of 4 Class 3 misconduct reports within a 12-month period were allowed to earn enhanced good time credits after one of the 4 Class 3 misconduct reports fell outside of the 12-month misconduct-free period of incarceration. Automation will verify that inmates complete a 12-month misconduct-free period of incarceration before receiving credits. And 4. Concurrent sentence verification. Individuals who are incarcerated on a prior sentence and received a concurrent sentence after the passage of LB 191 were awarded LB 191 credits prior to serving 12 months of time without a misconduct report on the concurrent sentence. Automation will ensure that inmates will serve 12 months of time on the new sentence prior to receiving credits. Additionally, the Department will transition from using a 30-day month to a calendar month for sentence calculation as part of the system automation project. Currently, the department calculates sentences based on the assumption that all months have 30 days. This is a practice that has been used in some states to simplify manual calculations. The use of new technology allows the department to transition to a calendar month-based system and will ensure sentences are calculated more precisely. Following the discovery of the miscalculation of mandatory minimum sentences under the last administration, NDCS initiated an internal audit of our sentence application. The goal of this ongoing audit is to proactively identify opportunities to minimize any future potential errors and implement best practices based on sound legal counsel. Over the course of this review, the department has continued to take steps to address issues as they arise and has sought legal counsel when appropriate to ensure that the department complies with state law. As announced in April 2015, the department is currently working to upgrade its software to improve automation of its sentence calculations. These improvements include the automation of multiple offense calculations, the elimination of good time manual adjustments, and the tracking of sentence recalculation. This project moves the sentence calculation process off a 30-year-old mainframe to a modern infrastructure that will enable changes to be implemented more quickly and precisely. The additional reforms announced today may extend the timeline for the completion of the project. Additional announcements about the timeline for the project will be made at a future date. And I can now take some questions.